everyone. Hi. Happy Friday. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Carol. Good morning, good afternoon, good time zone, wherever you are. I hope you had a good week. I hope it wasn't too long or too busy, but I know how these weeks go. It's a countdown to summer is what it is over here. Hi, Super Planner Girl. How's it going? How are you doing? How are stickers going? Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to my stream. Thanks for joining. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. I appreciate you all. Countdown to summer is on. Stickers have shipped. Yay! Awesome. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, countdown to summer. And also summer events, right? Like there's pen shows, there's stationery events happening. There's so much like excitement in the community for events that are going on and things that people are going to, right? And I'm so excited for that. And I'm excited to see and hear how everyone is enjoying these events. And I think there's one this weekend as well that some people may be going to. And that's super exciting. So yeah, let me know what you're up to. It's a Friday, so it's usually I stream on Wednesdays, but Wednesdays and Fridays are kind of my days to do streaming if I can. And I had to miss Wednesday because the kids were home and they're full on. So, but I wanted to stream today because I miss everyone. I miss hanging out with you all, and I'm also really excited for the Scriven Pen Show Inc., which is the Montreal Pen Show. It's happening May 24th. So that's next week. So if you're in the Montreal area, Quebec area, or if you're in Ontario and you can do the drive over, make sure you check it out because it's really nice and fun that there are Canadian pen shows happening. And I wish I was going. I know people have asked me and I wish I was going, but I'm not. So maybe next year though. I feel like Montreal is probably one of those places I do need to visit soon because I haven't been in a few years. And if I can time it with a pen show, then all the better. So, so I'm excited because they sent me a sample of the ink. So this isn't the actual bottle, but they sent me a sample and it kind of leaked on the way here. So it ruined the label, unfortunately, but the ink is fine. And I did swatch it. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen a post about it or a reel where I just showed drawing with this ink using a kakimori nib. And I love it. So spoiler on the ink, it's called Mossy Stone Wall. It's called Mossy Stone Wall, and it's like a dark green, a moss green. And it's like such a nice shade. And it goes with a lot of like different ink palettes. So if you're thinking about inking your fountain pen with something like this, there's a lot of other inks that will go with it. So what I wanted to do today is just do a little bit of painting with it. I wanted to show it off using my kind of new Colorverse Shuttle dip nib, which I think I've had for a couple weeks now. But I've been playing around with it a little bit. So I want to show you drawing with that as well. And then we're going to paint using paintbrushes. And then I also inked up my, hi Jessie, hi Fountain Pen News, welcome in. And I also inked up an Esterbrook JR with this ink. And so I'll do a little writing sample for you if you're curious and you wanted to see it. And yeah, so we're just gonna hang out. It's a Friday, right? Like Fridays are for chilling, for doing some art if you can. Grab your journal, grab whatever you have that you want to draw or paint or write in, and let's just kind of hang out. I have a hard stop around 10:30 a.m. So that's an hour and a half-ish from now. So I'm gonna do as much as I can in that hour and a half and just kind of enjoy hanging out with you all. Ink journaling, right? Super funner girl. Yeah, exactly. Ink journaling. So fun. And just playing with inks in general. You need to catch up with your currently inked pens. Yeah, definitely. How many do you have currently inked? But yes, currently inked. Super, super fun. I will also share, if this shows up on your screen, about me. If you're, sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't in chat. But if you're new to my stream, or if you're watching the replay, I'm Corolla. I go by From Corolla on socials, so you can find me on Instagram and everywhere else. And I love playing with inks and stationery and fountain pens, and I love encouraging other people to play with stationery too, because it's meant to, stationery is meant to bring us joy. And so I encourage everyone to play with stationery and to paint with inks if you haven't. It's so fun. And that's kind of what I do on my stream, is just have fun with stationery and do a lot of painting, do a lot of exploring of inks, and paints and other things in between. So welcome in. It's super chill over here if you haven't already guessed that. We don't get too intense, so yeah, grab whatever you want to kind of play with today and join us. 4 currently inked Super Planner Girl. That's a good number. I feel like I can never get down to like under 10. I feel like I always have so many like different nibs that I want to have inked in a pen. I have so many like pens that I'm just like, I want to use. And different inks, of course, right? So, but yes, that's good. You have 40 Queen of Washi. Okay, so I'm like somewhere in between those. I definitely have under 40. I usually have under 20. So my sweet spot recently has been around like 13 to 15. 15 is kind of my max, because then I kind of get lost in like what fountain pen I want to use. But 40, I love that. I love that for you. I get overwhelmed if much more than that. I hear you for sure. You're working and lurking. Yeah, no worries. Enjoy your lurk. I hope work is going okay too. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of inks. It's a lot of different nibs. You can definitely play with 40 pens. I feel like every time I get a new pen, or like a few at a time, I have to ink them up, right, to play with them. And so that number will sort of stretch. But overall, my currently inked situation is usually like 13 to 15. And I feel like that for me is kind of my comfort level per month. That changes per month. So my currently inked is like a currently monthly inked. And that can change, so always something fun to choose from, right? And then, we go on other streams and other people who sample their inks for us, and then all of a sudden you have more inks that you want to acquire, and obviously, you just keep adding to our collection. What's everybody's next Grail pen? That's a great question, Jessie. I'd love to hear what your Grail pen is. I ordered 3 Sula bags to use for different purposes. I can't wait to get them. What are those? I don't think I've heard of that. But I'm excited for you too. What's my next Grail pen? So I have a few Grail pens. One that I'll probably never acquire, but I always aspire to, and that's like any Pilot Namiki Maki pen. But I think for me, in terms of like just finding budget for it, is definitely Kyosedo Kakari and a Monarch nib from Shown Design. I want a Monarch nib so bad, but I do definitely have to budget for it. So I feel like that's a Grail pen and a Grail nib. So yeah, Fountain Pen News got 2 Operex pens this week that are gorgeous. I feel like those are Grail pens in themselves, especially because they're like customized in such a nice way. My Lauder pen is Atacha with the eggshell and mother of pearl. Ah, so pretty. Yeah. Auto Design 808. Let's see this Sula. Sula Studio bag. Oh, cool. Whoa. Look at all these pens that you could have in the front. I love the pen holders. Or the slots to put pens in. You do you. That's a great message. I love that. Yay, thanks for sharing. Or enabling. Those pens are insane. Yeah, they are insane, right? Oh, I hope you're enjoying them fountain pen use, or are you just kind of admiring them for now? Because they look so gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to start painting with, so I mentioned at the outset, this is a sample of the Scriven Montreal Pen Show ink, the official show ink. And they sent me a sample. It obviously ruined the label because there was a little bit of a leak, but the ink is fine. It's made by Pennonia, and it's called Mossy Stone Wall. And it is inspired by the stone wall of the pen show venue, which used to be an old church. So it's kind of like that mossy, like really pretty, old school sort of vibe. So I love it. There is no shimmer or sheen in it. It's a standard ink, but it has a lot of shading, which is really, really pretty. And it's such a nice shade. So I wanted to show it off a little bit, and we'll do a little bit of painting and just kind of admire. If you need another mossy green ink, this may be the one. For me, especially, I love the shade. Like, I love greens, but I also love, love, love so much dark shades of green, like muted, mossy sort of shades. So this is right up my alley. And obviously I love painting with greens because they are pretty as leaves and foliage and stuff like that. So, but we'll just kind of do a little bit of exploring and see what this ink is like. You're enjoying them so much? Yeah, for sure. I bet you are. I'm going to put a Sailor 21 broad nib in the dark opal one. Oh, okay. I see. You're going to switch out the nibs. Or the nib. So that's what this ink looks like as it's drying. So it does go down pretty dark, especially if you're like using it saturated. So like a very wide nib, you'll see some of this darkness show up for sure. But as it's drying, you can see a little bit of shading there. And I haven't used any water, so I didn't dilute it in any way, but we can just lighten it up a little bit. All the mossy greens, right? All of Octopus. I love mossy greens so much, especially if they have shading to them and you sort of get like a yellow, sort of pinkish vibe as well. It's so pretty. It's really, really pretty. I have a Grail pen coming in the mail. I saw one in person and thought I'd never find one. It's a Sailor Pro Gear Mosaic Brown. The nib is 21K cursive italic broad. Yeah. It's gorgeous. Yeah, let's take a look. Who is going to the... I know. Who is going to the Montreal show, right? We all need a bottle of this ink. I know, I don't want to use up my little sample. Oh, GHP. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hello, and hello to you. How's it going, GHP? I appreciate you. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's take a look. It's going okay. I hope it's going better now that you're here. And now that we're taking a look at this beautiful Sailor Pro Gear mosaic. Wow, they're so pretty. That brown one, the green one too. It uses a standard black section originally available in 4 colors. Oh, there are 3 colors available. Oh, awesome. Oh, so nice. Oh, so pretty. Yay, congratulations. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it. They have a lot of depth and yeah, for sure. I can see that, like, just the like the mosaic design, right? It's like you know how you see pens with like the crushed acrylic barrel. So pretty. Or body. Yeah, awesome. Not a Grail pen, but I do have an Opus 88 Omar Gray EF out for delivery. Oh, you're gonna have it soon. Awesome. Yeah, Opus 88s are really, really nice. I have like a demonstrator. I was like, what's the word? With the see-through demonstrator. And then I have one of the mini pocket ones from, I think, Endless. And it's like the calligraphy cap. So I have one, like a pocket and a regular. But yay, that's awesome. And the Opus 88 I have, like the full-size one has a 1.5 stub, which is like super wide. If you've ever tried that stub, it is really wide. Like, talk about putting down ink, right? So, I am going to do a little bit of writing with the Colorverse shuttle dip nib. And, I've had this dip nib for a couple of weeks, I think. So I've been kind of playing around with it. And when I initially got it, I think I actually tried it at the California Pen Show because Olive Octopus had it, and I was curious, obviously, so I wanted to try it out. And I don't know, I wasn't like totally blown away by it, but I just was so curious about it that I decided to get it from Atlas with some credit I had. And then since playing around with it, I did find that it was a tiny bit scratchy. And it could just be, you know, because I haven't used it enough to sort of smooth it out as I write with it. But I think it was Dustin who kind of said, you know, you can smooth it out a little bit using like fine sandpaper. So I used sandpaper that comes with glass dip pens. The J.R. Bong comes with like a really, really fine sandpaper that you can use on glass. And so I used that, and I just kind of smoothed it out a little bit depending on what angle I would use to write with it. And I have to say, it writes so much better now. So if you were kind of running into that issue with a dip pen, like the Kakamori or this one, the shuttle, maybe that's something to consider. So when I write with it now, I feel like it just writes a lot smoother, and it's so much nicer. Like, it glides, right? So this is called Mossy Stone Wall. And if anyone is going to the Montreal Pen Show, there's a few of us who want full bottles. But also, enjoy. Definitely get the ink if you can, and enjoy it, because as it's drying, like, look how beautiful, right? Look how beautiful that ink is. That's a really nice green, yeah. And don't say that about, actually, I think I say that a lot about greens because I like greens, but I don't say that a lot about like dark mossy greens because like they can either be too dark, too green, you know, but this is like just with the shading itself. It's like, yes, it comes out really dark here, but then you get like, as you write with a fountain pen and if you're painting with it and stuff like that, then you really get that shading as well. How has that been working out for you, GHP? Are you talking about the 1.5 stub nib? Because I love it, but I don't have it inked up right now. Or are you asking about this? Because, yeah. I have the Franklin Christoph 1.9 music nib. Ooh, that sounds awesome, Jessie. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Jack Toy, hi. I haven't seen you in a little while. How have you been, friend? And what pen shows and stationery events have you been to? Because I feel like I've seen photos where on Instagram where you've been to a couple of shows or events. The shading, yeah. So nice, right? The shuttle, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so the other thing I'll say too is because when I first got the shuttle dip nib, I was on the fence of getting it in the first place because I love my Kakimori stainless steel nib. Like, I'll be honest, this nib I've used for a couple of years now, and I use it constantly for swatching, for writing, for drawing. And so I've gotten used to it, and it's gotten used to me and the way I use it and the way I hold it. So that's why I was, on the fence about even getting another dip nib, because I thought, nothing can kind of compare to what I've been using. But I will say the thing that I love about the shuttle dip nib in comparison to the Kakimori is that you can get wider angles with this nib because you can actually angle it closer to the paper and get way more ink down on the paper than I can with the Kakimori, just because of the way that it's shaped, like the taper of it. And here the taper is a lot, like there isn't this sort of, the set taper or whatever it's called. It just sort of smoothly, gives you a lot more coverage. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards, really enjoying the shuttle. But like I said, the smoothness at first, kind of stood out to me, that it wasn't as smooth as the Kakimori nib. But with a little bit of smoothing out, it's fine now. So the 1.9 nib I use for drawing tables and headings. Yeah, totally. I can totally see that. Little Craft Fest was the last one. I have a lot of traveling these last few months. Yeah, and I heard Little Craft Fest was really, really fun, right? And I think they're doing a 2.0 later in the year, or in the summer, I think. So that's really fun. And yeah, I heard that it went off without a hitch, so that's good. I love when stationery events do really, really well, because, then there will be more, and then more people will want to enjoy them. Yes, they just announced for next April. Oh, okay, awesome. Yay. Next year, April. You had a blast, so you're going to go back? That's good to know, though. That's good to know. And I'm glad that they feel comfortable putting it on again, because it is a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of organizing. It's a lot of sort of balancing of different things, vendors and attendees and stuff. And yeah, Olive Octopus. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining the club. Yay. Yeah, so I would say enjoy the emotes. I have a few in there, but I do have to work on like adding more to my emotes, even free ones. I think I have a couple of spots, so I have a few in there. But so I'm gonna Now this is dried. Look how awesome that is, right? It's really, really nice. So I am going to draw on top of this, but also I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit more painting in my TN, my Galen Leather TN notebook, which I use for painting and like exploring inks and stuff like that. So I think I am going to paint in there as well because we have a little bit of time. And actually what I want to do is I want to paint with a couple of other colors that I have that are also from Pennonia. So I mentioned that the Scriven Pen Show ink is by Pennonia. It's a standard ink. So I pulled out a couple of other Pennonia ink bottles that I have, which are for Amarillo Stationery. This one is Rosa Mexicano, which is a beautiful, gorgeous magenta. And then this one is Amarillo Antiguo, which is a really nice yellow. And I feel like I don't ink enough pens with these colors, but I love painting with them. So I think it would be nice to do a little bit of painting with these colors because I think the Scriven Show ink will look really, really good with these two colors. We'll kind of blend and see what we come up with. Finally able to watch on a computer where it's easier to skip the extra app fees. Yes, Olive Octopus. When you mentioned it, and then Independence Mike mentioned it as well about subscribing on desktop versus the phone app, because on your phone they charge a little bit more to get like Apple's cut. That's a good tidbit to know. So I will definitely remember that. Yeah. Desert or dessert, Jesse? Which one do you feel like? Do you feel like eating or drinking this ink, or is it like desert? I want Rosa Mexicano so bad. Yeah, is it still not in stock, or like is Eric even bringing it back? I don't know, but yeah, I'm definitely like being precious with this ink because it is a gorgeous magenta. It is very, very nice. It's a nice shade for sure. I love to paint with shaders. Yeah. You need to get one of the little inkwells for sure. For sure. So I'm just gonna grab these two paint brushes. Super, like shaders are really, really nice to paint with. My favorite is also painting with shimmer inks because I don't tend to ink up a lot of shimmer inks like, frequently. So because I have a lot of shimmer inks, especially from Ferris Wheel Press, they're really, really pretty. But I always kind of, there's like specific pens and nibs that I use for shimmer inks, and I don't want to ink up a bunch of them. So I tend to paint a lot with shimmer inks because they're like, I just feel it's like adding glitter to something, right? It just livens it up, makes things look cheery. And especially like the way it sort of catches the light sometimes. You'll sort of, you see the shimmers and the same can be said with sheen and bow shading. I do enjoy that because it's like sometimes it's a surprise when you see something and then it has like really nice shading to it. It's like, oh, okay, you have a standard ink that has, another property to it. Hi, Inky, and congrats on your win on Brad's stream yesterday. I was like, yay, go Inky. I would only drink ink if someone paid me, yeah. Or if you accidentally dipped it or if you accidentally drank your the water that you're dipping your paintbrush in. You got a little taste of ink there, but some inks though, they look so nice that you're like, I wonder. I think secondhand is going to be my only option. Yeah, I think so too. Fountain pen use, unfortunately. But either way, really, really nice shade and really fun to paint with as well. Because it's so bright and cheery and gorgeous. And I love blending inks and just watching them sort of blend and mix and travel. And also fun, or I mean, like bright inks are really fun to paint with too, because I don't know how you feel about inking up like yellows and oranges and pale colors like beige and muted shades. But for painting, I love like bright colors and, you know, inks that sometimes might not be legible in a pen. But they're really pretty, right? Regardless. And painting and playing with them in this way is a way of enjoying them and still sort of, you know, getting all of the properties that you like about that ink without, you know, having to be frustrated that you may not see it in a fountain pen, especially if you're using like an extra fine or fine nib. And sometimes we don't get those properties to show. Does that magenta color have sheen? It does not. I don't think it does. Doesn't say on here, but I don't think there was any sheen. So I'm going to add some of that green in there as well. And to remember to swatch my inks. So this is the Esterbrook JR, and it's a stub nib. And so I inked this up a little bit with the with Mossy Stone Wall. So I'll show you what it looks like in a fountain pen as this kind of dries. So it really is this dark green. It comes out pretty dark in a fountain pen. So if it's saturated, you'll get more of that dark than you would like the light. But if you're using a broader nib, or if you're kind of enjoying it with like a dip pen or something like that, you'll get a lot more of the shading, which is really, really nice. And it's lighter and it gives it a lot more sort of dimension, which is really nice. So we're gonna let that dry, and in the meantime, I'll draw on top of this. So this is watercolor paper, by the way, so it does absorb a lot more ink, and it does a really good job of reflecting the properties, especially because I use, you know, a lot more ink to put down on this paper. And then I also used water to dilute it a little bit, so that's why you're seeing some of the light shades here. But even writing with a the Colorverse Shuttle Dip pen, the ink does show up pretty dark. Very mossy. So I'm going to use a mono drawing pen from Tombow. This is the 06, so it's a little bit wider than some of their finer tips, but you can obviously use a lower number for a finer tip. But when I'm drawing on top of paint, when I'm doing like line drawings, I like to use a little bit of a wider tip, because obviously, you know, especially on a darker ink, it's sometimes hard to see your lines. So if I use a wider tip, then you can see it. And usually what I use is my Kakimori nib, because it's such a go-to for me. I just grab it and I use the Kakimori pigment black ink and draw, you know, do my line drawings, draw flowers and stuff like that. But sometimes I like to sort of, especially if, you know, this is so portable, easy to grab, I like to use fine liners sometimes too. And also when I want to really showcase the ink. So I want to see the ink, right? I don't want to cover it up with black pigment ink. So, so that's when I go for like a fine liner or something that's like a little bit, it's not as prominent as maybe a pigment ink and the Kakimori nib. And so you can tell here the ink is pretty dark, because I put down a lot of it here and it's very saturated. But it's okay, because when I do my line drawings, it's just something to add a little bit more interest, because when I'm painting, they're obviously just outlines of flowers and leaves. They're not detailed at all. And so for me, going in and doing a little bit of line drawing practice is just something to add a little bit more interest to the piece, without, you know, taking away too much from what's actually already here, which is the paint or the ink, depending on what you're using. So it sort of breaks up a little bit, sort of the areas of ink that we put down. It breaks it up a little bit into manageable pieces of, like, when you're looking at it, you know, you're kind of looking at it in sort of these sections and can kind of enjoy it that way too. So I love the different shade and colors that it's picking up in the leaves here. So that's Mossy Stone Wall. Very, very pretty. And this is still drying, but you can kind of see as it's drying the pools of ink, where it's saturated, but then also where it's pulling out, and the light areas of that ink too. And these other inks, I think they're like a great combination, right? Go Pennonia. I think they go really well together. Especially when you have something moody and like mossy, like this green. It goes really well with like bright, fun colors because it sort of brings it into a palette where they're not just like competing against each other for, you know, attention. And then it's sort of the darker colors tend to ground the bright colors a little bit, for me anyways. So it's a great way of showcasing some of the darker colors sometimes. So let's wait for this to dry a little bit. Does take a little bit of time to dry, especially when you put down a lot of ink here, which I can always blot, but I like seeing it. So Jessie, you asked about sheen on the magenta ink. And so the funny thing is it doesn't have like sheen to it, but as it dries, the shading shows like a little bit of like a darker tinge, like a reddish tinge to the magenta. And I don't know if it's like obvious when you're using it in a fountain pen, but when you're painting with it, you definitely see, you know, a little bit of a darker shade. It's a little shiny maybe too, but it's interesting. Thanks, Super Planner Girl. It's just a bit of fun. What do you think about this ink? What do you think about all three shades, and what do you think about the Mossy Stone Wall ink? It's actually a pretty good match to this pen. I was like, I don't have a lot of green pens, and mossy green pens at that, but I feel like it's a pretty good match. Yeah, it is nice. It is nice, Jessie. It's not too obvious because, you know, you obviously have the magenta that's like, it stands out, right? But when you get some of that like less obvious or a little bit more subtle properties to an ink, it's very pretty. Gamma Gamma. Hi! Do you recognize these inks? I adore the pink. I'd never use the yellow. The green is gorgeous though. I would never have chosen it. I do think I'd use it. Yeah! That's awesome. Yeah. Your fun is my lack of talent. No, GHP, you gotta you gotta do my tutorials or take one of my classes. I will get you doing this. Don't you worry. It's lots of fun, and it's also abstract. Remember that. I was thinking maybe the magenta would replace Yamabudo, but I do like the sheen of Yamabudo. Yeah. 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 I don't know if you were here when I actually like showed the ink bottles, Gamma Gamma. But we have some fans of Rosa Mexicano who want the bottle. Fountain pen use. And yeah. Oh, Super Planner Girl posted a picture on the Slack. You're like, wait. I know this. What is happening? Yeah, you want the pink Super Planner Girl. It will be coming back in a few weeks / months. That's awesome. That's great news. It's coming back. It's coming back if you want one. I did my first ink pony, and that was tough enough. Yeah, but it's fun, right? I will say the ink pony, if you're part of the ink pony club, check it out. Olive Octopus. Yeah. Olive Octopus. What is it? Inkpony.club. But definitely check it out if you want to do some painting. Ink pony. If you want to do some painting with fountain pen inks and you want something that's, you know, that you just color in, which is sometimes a little bit easier. But I will say, GHP, I too was kind of, I looked at my ink pony and I was like, I don't want to mess it up, right? But you can't. That's kind of the fun part about ink pony, and also just in general painting with inks, right? Is you can't mess it up. Like, yes, you can get different combination of ink colors and blending and stuff like that, but I feel like it's all kind of an exploration, right? And it's all kind of like finding different properties of the ink and how they work together and how they blend. And so, yeah, like I love sometimes blending inks and then, you know, thinking like, well, maybe I would never use this ink or I would never mix them per se, but it is still fun, right? And it's still kind of fun to see it. Yeah, all props to Olive Octopus for sure. Love Olive Octopus streams and the way that Lisa paints with inks and also explores them. And I always think in Olive Octopus streams, I always think like, here we go, more inks that I really want and that I add to my wish list, right? We need to play the pony song. Or you could hum it in the background. Yeah, definitely share your ink pony if you feel comfortable. Because I feel like it's also encouraging to see other people and how they paint their ink ponies. I know for me, I like seeing like the different variations of them, right? And like you can choose different ink colors. The pony doesn't have to be a certain color. And you can add a background and other things too. And that's kind of fun. Yeah. Yes, fountain pen news. Rosa Mexicano is coming back. How do I get on the secret special list? Oh no. How do I get on the pre-order list? All right, I think I'm going to blot some of this. Let me see. Do I have blotter paper? Okay. I'm going to blot a little bit. It's very saturated still. There we go. I think the rest is pretty dry. Yeah. You kind of took over. No, by all means. You know I don't mind. People are asking questions, right? They're asking me what's going on and I don't know. Sign up for restock on the website. Yes. But every time I take out this ink because I love painting with it. Right? I love painting with it. I have inked it up before and I feel like I don't ink up enough magentas and pinks and reds and stuff, and I should. But for painting, it's like my go-to. Like you've seen this before where I'd like pick out the magentas and the yellows and stuff, right? And the oranges. Because they're so fun to paint with and they're like bright and cheery. Where's my other one that I did? I feel like I constantly pick out these types of colors, right? So, and then every time I paint with Rosa Mexicano, people are like, where can I get this? And when can I get it? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think it's in stock. But I still love using it, so... Yeah, that is amazing news. Definitely. Get yourself on the list if you want it. Maybe for this one, I'm actually going to use my Kakamori ink, wherever it is. Let me see. I usually have this bottle sitting on my desk, but because I use it so often, especially for painting. But it's in my ink drawer, so that's cool. But this is the Kakamori pigment, black pigment ink. And it's great for using with a dip nib, especially if you're putting it down on top of other ink. It stands out. I signed up. Yeah, we see discontinued colors being used, right? Yeah, exactly. Why tuck away discontinued colors? Because you know people are going to ask. You're like, well, it's discontinued, but admire it anyway. Yay, I'm so glad this made your day. No worries. I was saying because the Scriven Pen Show ink from Montreal, for the Montreal Pen Show, is made by Pennonia. So that's why I picked out a couple of other Pennonia inks that I have. And these are the two. I also have the blue one, but so yeah, that's why I figured if it's like three Pennonia inks, they might go well together, and I was right. I think they do go really well together. I think Gamagama, you also said that you like this shade, right? So this is my sample bottle, and I wish I had a full bottle because it is such a nice ink. It's such a great standard ink that, like, I think it could be just like, you know, something that you go to if you're thinking like a dark green or mossy green. It's one of those, like, you can always ink it up. It doesn't have to be, you know, a certain season or with a certain palette or anything. I think it goes with pretty much anything. Mike's Pennonia inks are really good too. Yeah, I know, GHP. I've heard so much about Mike's Pennonia inks, navy beans, and is there one called toe beans? Like all of I want them all. For me, it's a shipping thing. Shipping to Canada is not always ideal, but that doesn't stop me from putting them on my wish list and maybe one day getting them because I definitely want to try them out for sure. That's I had acquired a new bottle on secondhand market of Pennonia Cheerio Water Buzz. Oh. Oh no, it was moldy. Oh no. Yeah. Definitely when it's in stock, grab a bottle. Because who knows? I feel like there are a lot of people who have been waiting for Rosa Mexicano to come back in stock that they'll jump on it for sure. I've gotten a lot of questions. I was so sad. Yeah, Super Planner Girl. I'm so disappointed for you because I know, like, sometimes, I think once I've opened up a bottle of ink and it smelled a little funky and I was like, oh no, right? Like, you never know with inks, especially if, you know, humidity or any of those outside factors play a role in how that ink sort of ages, and sometimes they don't age well, so by the way, on Mike's stream yesterday, his FedEx story was crazy. They told him they're not shipping his stuff because they don't feel like it. Oh no, that is crazy. So speaking of shipping, by the way, I'm in Canada and our main postal service is Canada Post, and they went on strike in November, I believe, of last year, and then they had to go back to work, and so things talks were suspended. But the rumor and what it looks like is they will be going on strike May 22nd, which is next week. If, no deals are reached by then, which I don't know if they will. And so that kind of puts a halt on all our shipping. So shipping nightmares, I tell you, is like not just like fees for shipping, but yeah, using different couriers and different methods of shipping is like, sometimes it's it's a headache. It's a nightmare. North Carolina. It's kind of an odd thing though to like just kind of be like, I don't want to. I don't want to ship to you. Like, what? Isn't that what you're meant to do? Right? So this is Rosa Mexicano, and then just put Amarillo. Amarillo Antiguo. So cute. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, that is nuts. I told Mike, I'm like, just go up to them and say, bruh, just give me my stuff. Don't you know who I am? That would be my go-to. Oh, I have a fun new decoration hack for leather notebooks. What's your decoration hack? Oh, okay. I was like, what is it? Share. Using needle finders, enamel pins with strong magnet backings rather than a pin. Oh, yes. Yeah. That's totally a good idea. Instead of using pins to poke a hole, you find something with a strong magnetic backing. Yeah, because it will work through like even the leather covers. So as I'm just showing it to you. So this is Rosa Mexicano, Amarillo Antiguo, and Mossy Stone Wall. I think they look really great together. And the thing I do love about these inks, like when they're really bright and cheery and fun like this, is that you can, put pigment ink on top of it, and it doesn't take away from the brightness and the characteristics of the inks themselves. Like I can, they're still commanding attention. That's how bright and fun they are. Hi, Munella. Just tuned in. This looks amazing. Hi, welcome in. Yeah, I'm painting with fountain pen inks. And just kind of exploring the colors and enjoying the different properties. So I used 3 different fountain pen inks. that are really pretty. And I have a sample ink that I was showing off too. And then, so I use paintbrushes, and then after they dry, I went in with a Colorverse shuttle dip nib. And it's a metal nib, and I used a pigment ink to draw, just do some line drawing on top. So it's my style is very abstract. And I love drawing florals and flowers and leaves. And so it's very much an abstract floral little art. Hi, Penguins Creative. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. More art streams and journaling streams too. Have you tried the Colorverse shuttle dip nib, Penguins Creative? Or anyone else too, if you've used it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I can't buy more. Yeah, not until you get rid of all the stationery that you want to get rid of, and then you can buy more, right? Like, you're meant to replace what you get rid of, right? We just need some space. I'm just kidding. We all need some space in our stationery hoarding places. I haven't. Looks funky. Yeah. You like how girthy the Kakamori ones are? Yeah, for sure. No, I know what you mean, right? Like, this is almost like too sleek sometimes. Yeah. I feel like I still kind of have to play with them a little bit. But yeah, I'm so used to the Kakamori nib. And just like how you can sort of get those lines by, angling it. And I think you're right in terms of like when you're drawing, you get, especially because like with the shuttle dip nib, I have to angle it a little bit closer to the paper to really get those girthy, juicy lines. Whereas with the Kakamori, I just kind of like, it puts down a lot of ink from the jump, right? Like from the get-go, like you dip it into ink and it's just like, you get these really saturated lines right away. And with the shuttle dip nib, which I also kind of appreciate, is that you get a little bit more subtlety, unless you really angle it towards the paper. But for swatching, for sure, I can see how this tapering of this nib is very handy to put down a lot more ink. And it's also interesting how they have this little reservoir cut out hole for the ink to sort of sit in, and then it also sort of moves down those lines. So it's very, very interesting. If you were to ask me like today, which one's my favorite, I would still say the Kakamori nib. But I am starting to appreciate the differences between the two nibs. So something to think about. Always something to think about, where we try like different things, right? And we have our preferences. But it's kind of nice to get out of the zone a little bit and, out of your comfort zone. Like try a different version of that tool, or a whole new different tool. So if you haven't tried either nib, I do encourage you to try at least one of them, because it is a lot of fun. And I know I've had people kind of reach out and say they felt a little bit uncomfortable drawing with a Kakamori nib. It's great for swatching. You can kind of get used to writing with it, but I love drawing with it. And it's a great way, like if you don't want to take out your paintbrushes and get to painting with inks, or your glass dip pen, the Kakamori nib is kind of like the in-between, or any like dip pen, right? They're kind of the in-betweens where you can just, dip into an ink and have a little bit of fun and kind of enjoy. I've gravitated more to glass nibs and away from my Kakamori. Yeah. The Teranishi that Olive Octopus has used on stream is great. And I have a chemise on order from Shigori. Ooh, nice. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I do understand the glass dip pen thing, because I appreciate my glass dip pens for sure. And they are very smooth and enjoyable to use. Whereas like sometimes these like stainless steel or metal dip pens, they can be a little scratchy, or just kind of like catch on the paper a little bit. Whereas glass dip pens they tend to be smooth if you have a smooth one. And I saw the Teranishi one that Olive Octopus was using, and I really want one. I want one, so it's on my list of things, because I think is that the one that has the cap, so you can like close it off and take it with you, because I feel like with dip pens, I would love if they had a cap to them. Maybe like the metal ones, not so much. But definitely the glass dip ones. I wish there was sort of like, I could feel more comfortable carrying them around and like having them portable, right? So. But I don't think I've heard of the chemis. For swatching, laying down a lot of ink, I've gotten really good results from a 10mm flat brass nib. Yes, I think you mentioned this before too. Those are really fun. Although I don't have one, but they look really fun. Yeah, the Teranishi with the cap. Yeah, I really want one. That's the ease of kakimori for you. Yeah, for sure, right? Like, it's so easy. It's so easy to pull it out and just use it. Especially if you have it, since you're here, Gamma Gamma. Especially if you have it in a beautiful nib holder, like the one that you and Rich designed, or came up with, created, right? Then it's all the more enjoyable. So much more enjoyable, especially if you have them in like an aesthetically pleasing holder, or yeah, something like that. It's way more fun than using a paintbrush sometimes. But yeah, so that's kind of it. I wanted to just do a little bit of painting, show off this ink a little bit, because where did I have the drawing? I did a little bit of drawing with the ink, and that's what I posted to Instagram. But I did want to explore it a little bit more, and really show off the shading to it, because it's really, really pretty. And then I wanted to try and add to a palette. So, yeah. I love this. I love this. I think the colors work so well together, and so they're so bright and, really, really pretty. Oh, thanks, GHB. Let's see. Oh, yes. Oh. Is that the one you got, or a different one? That is so pretty. And so elegant looking. And it's a mini glass pen. Oh, nice. Oh, very nice. Awesome. These are the nib sizes too. Ooh. Oh, man. I'm in trouble because so at the SF Pen Show last year, I got a glass dip pen from Glass Studio Aun. And I think it's because of Penguin's Creative, actually, who mentioned it. And so I was like curious. So I went and I got one of their glass dip pens to try out. And it is so nice and so smooth. And I think they're going to be back at the SF Pen Show this year. And so I'm like, do I need another glass dip pen? Of course I do. This year the Battleground will be is that twos? Oh, I think I saw them on the list and I was like, I don't know if I want to. No. don't know if I want to tempt myself, but of course I will. Yeah, you do too, Jack Toy. They are also gorgeous. No! Why? I hope that all the glass studios bring enough, because I hope they realize what kind of demand there is. Because honestly, last year, I think people darted to the little room that they were in, that Glass Studio Aon was in, and the lineup was like out the door. And I initially was like, I'll come back. I hope there's some pens still there. And I think I was lucky enough to snag at least a pen, because they did sell out super, super quick. So I feel like hopefully they have enough, and hopefully other people are kind of like, oh, I'll check them out later, and then us Glasted pen folk we'll get there first, elbows out. Just kind of get there after. Oh no, and you're gonna send me a link? Great. All right, I have to share it with you because I need everyone to also. Oh, what? And they're like, they have portable size. Cute size. They have a cute size. Oh, they are so gorgeous. Look at that. Wow. That's so pretty. I love the back of it too. I love how it tapers out, and then it has a flat back. Wow, that's so pretty. There is no later within 1 hour. Yeah, I know. I'll need one for variety. You see, this is where this is where you make those decisions, right? I don't need the same one. I do need a different one though. I know. Oh no. This is gonna be so bad, but also good. Oh, the stationery bag was something with S. I think I still have it open. Sula. This one. I think Fountain Pen News shared that. Preaching to the choir. Yeah, I know, right, GHB? I feel like we're just enabling each other to enable. Yeah, E for enabling. Or sharing. I mean, what's going to happen is, one of us gets one of these things, and then all of us are like, where'd you get it? What brand is this? How do I get one? So, all the better for sharing. Yeah, no worries, Super Planner Girl. I was saying that bag is great because it has all these holders at the front for your pens. So it looks very handy. Or all your glass tip pens, if you have a cap for them, because you don't want to wreck them. And then, of course, if you have a bunch of glass tip pens, then you have to have a pen holder or pen tray for them, right? To showcase them. I don't know if Toyoko Craft is coming back to SF. Do you know Penguins Creative? But yeah, it's like trying to score, the nice stationery, like glass tip pens, pen trays, and all those like fun things, accessories and stuff like that too. That is so true. I end up wanting to buy so much during or after streams. Yeah, for sure. And GHP, we just like go to all the streams and get enabled to buy more ink, get enabled to buy more pens. Toyoko Craft is coming back. It's on the website. Okay, awesome. Yeah. I think I did see them, but when the lineup has been finalized and like I can print out the floor map. That's when it gets crazy, because it's like trying to, well, you know, Penguin's creative, but like trying to map out your route through everything, knowing, you know, there's certain vendors who are going to be really busy, and really in demand, so their product might go quickly. It's like trying to map out, like, what do I really need, right? And what do I need from those vendors too? It's like running to the plotter table to be like, what's the show special? I need one of those. I need the limited edition paper pads and the square, you know, leather binder, which we do all need because they're so pretty. Yeah, I know. It's like trying to that's where all the planning for pen shows and stuff comes in handy, is you got to pre-plan these things, right? Budget aside, like pre-plan where you're going to get your stuff and who you're going to get it from, because it's going to go so fast. But I do like the different, like, I feel like there's going to be a lot more glass studios at the SF Pen Show, and just in general, I feel like there's more interest maybe in glass products at like stationery events and pen shows, that it's really, really nice to see like a variety of them. And yeah, and then we can own like different types of glass tip pens and all sorts of different products, stationery adjacent and pen adjacent, and things that we all kind of need and want, but anyways, friends, it's been so fun. I do have to hop off. I did just want to kind of hang out with all of you. I've missed you, and I did want to do a little bit of painting, so I hope you had fun. I hope you are also inspired to paint with more inks. Ink pony, or just kind of put ink down on paper and enjoy it, explore it, and use up what you have so that you could buy more. I'm just kidding. Use up what you have so that you can enjoy it, so that you can play with it. And, you know, get as much joy out of the stuff that we do end up spending money on, right? Because, yeah, because we don't have endless budget. We don't have endless space for our stationery. So whatever we do acquire, have fun with it, get the most out of it, and, yeah, enjoy it. Oh, thanks, GHP. Yeah, I know, right? Thank you. I know. We're all surviving. We're all getting through the week, getting through the month. Yeah, great to see you too. Thanks so much for joining and being part of the stream. And I'll see you in your streams. And I'll see you in whatever the next stream is, right? Yeah, beautiful inky time. I think that's it's fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I'm glad that people are here to enable us, and also, you know, share what you're into, what you're enjoying, and what you're having fun with. So I'll see you in the next stream sometime next week, probably Wednesday. But I'll see you in the other streams as well. Olive Octopus. If you don't follow Olive Octopus, definitely do. It's a fun stream. Yeah, Super Planner Girl. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, friends. And bye, Jack Toy. Thanks so much for being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a great weekend. And yeah, have fun with your inks. Have fun with your stationery. Okay, bye. Bye, friends.